to get some couples' relationships heated up again, where sexual incompatibility is happening here, or not incompatibility, more like they're not synchronized. It's just not happening at the same time. I want you to meet Dr. Janet Wolfe now. She's a psychologist and author of What to Do When He Has a Headache, Renewing Desire and Intimacy in Your Relationship. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In our conversation with the three couples, and I know that you've been listening all this time, some interesting things have come out, particularly with the first couple here, was talking about how 4.5 years of marriage, and they never quite discussed that the wife likes morning making love, and the husband didn't know that. I mean, what do you say to a couple who's...
You know, it's funny, it's the 90s, but this topic is still one of the most difficult things for people to talk about. And this whole sex issue is really maybe 3% about sex, and it's about 97% about communication. I'm just wondering, how many of you think that your sex life is really abnormal? All of you, I'll bet. You want to know something? It probably, the majority of couples, and I'm talking about young couples as well as older ones, have sex maybe once or twice a month or less.
That's normal?
That is normal for a very large percentage of people. Not necessarily the way we'd like it to be, but that's the first bit that I'd like to, educate you about, that you're not alone. There are millions of people out there who have what we call desire discrepancies.
But are they unhappy about it?
Some of them are miserable, and some of them have made their peace with it. And the first bit of advice I'd like to give to you is to accept yourself and your partner with that low sex, because otherwise it starts taking on a life of its own. It becomes larger than life, and it becomes the problem. And the nice thing about all of you is it sounds like you have a basically strong commitment to each other, and sex is one of the easier things to fix if we use our greatest sex organ around, which is our brain. We can talk about what it is that turns each other on.
But you know something, it's hard, to say I'm going to accept that twice a month. I'm not sure I would accept that twice a month.
Accept doesn't just mean you lie back and resign yourself to it. By acceptance, I mean you try not to make yourself too angry at your partner, because for every person out there who isn't getting it as much as they would like, there's one who is saying to themselves, "This is horrible. I can't stand it. My partner must not really care about me. I don't feel like a woman anymore." And there's another one who's saying to themselves, "Darn, this is a discrepancy we have." It could be a discrepancy in where you want to spend vacations or how you raise the kids. And if they see it as a problem, but they're basically on the same team together, and they don't make themselves unduly angry or upset about it, then they're off to a good start.
So, like Chad and Tess. Chad learned for the first time on this show today that Tess likes to make love in the morning. And he didn't know that. Yeah. That is a communication problem, but what would you say to the couple?
I'd like to suggest to you that you both sit down and say to each other, one at a time, what would make me feel better about our relationship is. And just start in a non-sexual area
But
first.
how do you do that without getting mad at each other, going, yeah, but you... And yeah, but you...
By watching yourself talk, because if you know how you make yourself mad, you say, "This person shouldn't be this way. This is awful. I can't stand it." And then you'll really get your steam up, and your communication's going to go down the tubes. But if you say to yourself, "This is my friend. This is my life partner. This is the person I want to go through life with. Now, how are we going to get our team together so that we can make some nice music?" And you listen to what your partner says. So if she were to ask you now, what could she do to make you feel better about the relationship? What would you say to her?
Just if she wouldn't feel like a dud in bed, she just goes in bed and just goes to sleep.
Now that's the way the man feels. Let him say it.
That's right. And what could she do? If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change anything about her, what could she do differently that would make you feel more warmly toward her and more supportive of her?
More affectionate. If she showed her feelings out to me instead of keeping them inside.
And what could Chad do? Could you tell him that would make you feel better about the relationship?
I just think if he didn't climb all over me all the time.
And what would you like him to do? Because I think what we women tend to do a lot is we tell him what we don't want him to do, or we want you to be more affectionate, more foreplay. But you got to really spell it out, and I know it's hard.
Yeah, Tess, think about it a second. We're going to take a break, and I'd like to go through each couple because I think this is good. I'd like to kind of like slow down a minute and just listen when we come back.